Hello, welcome. It's the ProSynth Network live. Here we are again. Sorry we're a couple of minutes late. It's kind of a thing now, isn't it? If we started on time, we'd catch you all out. So apologies for the slight delay. We just get carried away talking before we come on air. It's episode 213. It is May the 3rd already. May the 3rd. And of course, tomorrow is May the 4th. Be with you. Yeah, my son's going to see, they've reissued The Phantom Menace. I don't really know if you want to see that one again. But anyway, yeah, that's what it is, Star Wars Day tomorrow. And it's also a long weekend here in the UK. So if you are this side of the Atlantic or the Channel or wherever, we've got a day off on Monday, so that's cool. So a nice long weekend to get up to nonsense and shenanigans, of which we'll start doing here over the next couple of hours. We've got some very interesting news topics, and we've got a great guest talking about a very exciting product that is now available for everyone to buy. It was a Kickstarter campaign a few months ago, has been succeeded and fulfilled, and we've got copies of them here, so we can talk about that at length and give you some information from the expert brains of our guest this evening. Now, we don't seem to have a Mr. Spong yet, because if anybody tuned into his pub last night, Mrs. Kent, the lovely Fiona, was doing some house improvements, home improvements. She was varnishing their stairs or putting some sort of lacquer on or something. Anyway, it has a drying time of around 16 hours, although some 24 odd hours, probably 36 hours later, it's still not fully dry. Kent is downstairs, Kent's studio is upstairs. So therein lies the problem. We're not sure if he's going to make it either from up there, whether he's going to shimmy up the drain pipe, or be carried either side of the staircase by two of his dogs. I don't know. They might figure something out. Or he might just join us from his front room. Or he might not join us at all. But anyway, Kent, we're a man down, so that's not a problem. We'll get on and hope that the stairs dry soon and that he gets back into action. Anyway, before we do anything else, and to give Kent a few more minutes, just in case he is going to join us, please remember to give us a like and a comment and a subscribe and a share. That would be fantastic. Click the like button or the dislike button. I know some of you do, because we get a few clicks. I don't know whether you watch the entire show and then give us a thumbs down, or whether you just like go, oh, it's them again, instant thumbs down. But whatever, it's all engagement, and at the end of the day, that's all the algorithm really cares about. But it would be nice if you do enjoy the show, give us a subscribe. Get us up to that 4,000 subscribers mark, because we've kind of, it always gets to that point. We're almost teetering on the edge of another 1,000, and then it all kind of just slows down a little bit. So it'd be great if you haven't already subscribed to give us a subscribe, and then you can choose whether you get notifications or not. That's entirely up to you. But you can also smash the bell, as the kids say, and get notified every time we do some stuff. And of course, over this month, what with Superbooth and lots of interesting things coming out, there might be extra stuff. So yeah, do all that. That'd be fantastic if you could. Whether it's now or during the show, it would be most appreciated. Another thing that you can do if you really want to help us and support us, because we are completely audience funded, is you can support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/ProSynth Network. And I am hoping that those... Oh, who did that? Those people who subscribe to us on Patreon, and there are a fair number, should have got an email about 7 minutes ago to tell you that there's a new Patreon exclusive right there on the Patreon website right now. If you are a paid subscriber, and it's just a minimum of $2, you can give us as much as you like, but it's a minimum of $2. Right now on the Patreon page is a very, very special and incredibly exclusive preview video of the forthcoming Cherry Audio synthesizer plugin that is coming out on May the 14th. Now, it doesn't tell you what it is. It's a big audio demo. So you can sit and listen to 4 or 5 minutes of this plugin being played incredibly well by the wonderful James Terrace, who's the chief sound designer there. And Cherry Audio were very, very generous, and they gave us this video and they said, we would like your guys, your Patreon supporters, to have exclusive access to this for the next, I think it's 5 days. If you're not a Patreon supporter, you can do one of two things. You can either wait until Tuesday, until it's officially released on their YouTube channel, or you can go over there right now make a little donation, subscribe to $2 a month or something, and you can get to watch that video as much as you want for the next 4 or 5 days, knowing that you're one of an exclusive, clique of people that's able to watch it. And you get the warm, fuzzy feeling of supporting ProSynth Network, and you get free stuff like patches for your synthesizer. There's patches for the Modal Cobalt 8, and with more on Modal later on tonight. Modal Cobalt 8, we've got JDXI, the Roland JDXI, we've got the Korg Wave State, we've got Korg Mod Wave stuff on there. There's lots of stuff, and it's going to increase exponentially. There's a big word for a Friday night. It's going to increase over the next few weeks as we get more and more stuff. So there is a benefit to being a ProSynth Network Patreon, because you help keep us on air and you get free stuff. So that's always good. So head on over there now if you're a member, and if you're not a member, join up and head on over there, and you can watch that Cherry Audio demonstration video, about 5 minutes worth of performance, and it's rather good. So yeah, there you go. It's all yours. You are very welcome, and thank you, Cherry Audio. We are across all of the social media networks: YouTube, of course, Patreon, sorry, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, Threads even, and the network formerly known as Twitter, X. We're all there as well. And one last thing, if you want to ask a question of us or of our guest, if you prefix your question with a big capital Q, it helps us pick it out of the list, and we put it to one side, and we'll get to it as and when we can. So there you go. And I think, ladies and germs, I think that is all of the stuff out of the way. Oh, another thing I need to give a shout out, because I've just seen him in the chat, so I just want to remind everyone. Our good friend Carl Bedford, Superstar DJ, is going to be with us at Superbooth this coming May 16th to May 18th. And he is organising a night out on the Thursday, dinner mostly, maybe some booze, maybe some leather-clad individuals as well. But if you want to join Carl, myself, Ben Breslin, and whoever else might be joining as well, then do let Carl know. I think Carl's put something up on our Facebook page. But yeah, I just thought I'd give that a big shout out, and it would be great if we got a whole bunch of people together on the Thursday night and had a bit of a laugh. So thank you, Carl, for sorting that out. That's really very cool. So that's that. Very quickly, donations. Our moderators. Andrew Brooks, good evening to you, sir. I'm not begging. I'm just saying it's out there. You can choose to do it or not. It's entirely up to you. But thank you for your £5, and thank you for your moderation services. It's always very appreciated. Along with Ben Musines and Andy Synth Addict, Stephen Smith in Australia, 20 US Aussie dollars, and thank you, Mr. Manny Fernandez. Sorry, Dr. Manny Fernandez for $10 there. And talking of Dr. Manny Fernandez, he has, or should I say, Nonlinear Labs have released an exclusive sound bank for their wonderful C15 synth, compiled and created by the one and only Dr. Manny Fernandez. And it sounds very, very good indeed. Go to their YouTube channel now. It's a free bank for all C15 users. There you go. So thank you, gentlemen, there for your wonderful donations. It is much appreciated. And welcome to everybody that's in the chat as well. There are many, many of you. I'm not going to name you all, but thank you for joining. Your patronage is, as always, incredibly welcome and appreciated. Right, I'm going to stop talking for a bit now because that's been going on. Let's bring in my fellow co-host for the evening. We still haven't seen Mr. Spong yet, so fingers crossed he'll join us at some point soon. But in the meantime, of course, we are, as always, joined by the wonderful, the lovely Andrew Longhurst. Let's give you a round of applause. There you go. I do that.
There we go.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. It's been a weird week. It's not often you hear the words free and bank in the same sentence, is it?
It's not. Free and bank. No. Something similar, but...
And I had a listen to some of that on the C15 on
good, isn't it?
The site. It's very good. He's a very clever bunny.
It's amazing what you do with 2-operator FM.
Yeah. Well, he's used to having very few operators in his... Oh, well, there we go. So, it's been a good week.
Excellent stuff. How's your cloud lifter work? Is everybody hearing Andrew nicely and clearly? I should please hope so.
I'm still trying to work out whether or not I'm hearing too much of myself and not putting enough into the chat. But
now you know how we feel.
Let me know. There we go.
But no, that's good. I think it's all loud and clear, says Matt Evans.
Pardon?
Yeah.
It does give me the only problem with the cloud lifter. Hang on, if I switch it off. Hello, you see, I speak in a Welsh voice. See, that's what happens. If I switch it on again, that's me. There we go.
It works. It filters out rubbish accents as well. Fantastic. I've got a new audio interface. I've got.
Oh yes, you have. Tell us about it.
I've got the Arturia Audio Fuse 16 rig, which sounds great.
Wow.
And it's Axel Hartmann designed, I found out as well. Hence the stylish orange ears that it has. But my word, what an interface. For synthesizer users, it's the perfect interface because aside from being 24-bit 192 and all of that, sort of top-end gubbins, it's got 16 analog inputs and 16 digital inputs and then about 28 outputs across analog and digital, and it's got up to 4 headphone ports, and it's got USB, and it's lovely.
It's a bit of a beast.
And it's enabled me to get rid of 2 other mixers that I was using. One sub-mixer for certain synths, and then my little desktop mixer. That's all gone. Don't need it anymore because I use this.
Am I right in thinking it also works standalone? So that
it does.
Yeah?
Yeah. So you've got a matrix, because obviously Arturia are known for their matrices, but you've got this big matrix, and you can set all the ins and the outs to go into wherever you want them to go, and it's almost an infinite permutation. And then even if the computer's turned off, that remains, and you just turn the interface on, and it's amazing. I do have to say that the manual's shockingly poor. No, it's not really. Although, no, Mr. Metley, he's in the house. It's a typically good Mike Metley manual, except for one thing, Mr. Metley, and I do need to take you to task about this. There is stuff all in there about how the loopback function works on the interface. There are 6 mentions. I used, Command F to find six mentions of the word loopback, and they're all basically saying, here's the loopback. This is where you find the loopback. If you're looking for the loopback, and it's just like 6 uses of the word, but there's no explanation about how the loopback function works. And nobody else seems to know. I did a bit of an internet search, and even Arturia don't seem to have an idea.
And it's funny because there seems to be a real difference between the way loopback works in software with software drivers. You can get drivers that you put on that provide loopback through all your systems, your doors, etc. And how it works in hardware. Hardware loopback isn't the same as the software.
It's not.
Loopback.
No, this is what Kent and I discovered. I pinged Kent on Wednesday, and I said, "Have you got a minute?" And I just want to test this thing to make sure it's all working. And after about 5 hours, we actually said, "Do you know what? It's not the same thing, is it?" So all I had to do was just pop the audio fuse into my Rogue Amoeba loopback software, and it works absolutely perfectly, and I can do all the things and feed all the audio in.
Whoop.
So yeah, it's all
good. And am I right in thinking? I know we've got something else to get on, but am I right in thinking? Oh look, hi there, Mr. Metley. Good to see you here. Am I right in thinking that actually Fiona's been spreading honey on the stairs? It's not all marmalade.
She's been spreading something on the stairs.
It's not varnish. It's marmalade or something.
It's probably that. But then if it was, then the dogs would have been at it.
Ah.
But anyway, I just say he might be trying to tiptoe. I did suggest putting plastic bags on his feet as he sort of teetered up there, so he didn't leave big nasty footprints or get sticky feet. But yeah, poor old thing. So fingers crossed he gets that sorted. Anyway, look, we are being awfully rude here and ignoring our guest, and we need to bring the gentleman in. And he's here for a reason, because this thing, which is the Sonicware Lofi-12 XT, has officially kind of launched to the public. It was a Kickstarter campaign, and it got successfully funded very, very quickly, and has now landed and is shipping to all the Kickstarter. What do they call them? Contributors.
Contributors.
Funders, backers. That's the one, backers. It's shipping to all of those as we speak, and you can now. Well, we'll talk about the offers, but the one man you want to go to if you want to learn how to use any of the Sonicware devices and others besides, but any of the Sonicware stuff, is the one and the only Mr. Chris Lody. Good evening, sir. Welcome. Thank you for joining at fairly short notice.
No problem.
It's not. It doesn't go without recognition. So thank you ever so much for that.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a while since we've had you on, but welcome back. How are things?
Not bad. Yeah, busy.
Good,
As
excellent.
always,
yeah, indeed. Yeah. So LoFi-12 XT. Are you excited? Is
Yes.
it everything you hoped it would be?
It is. I'm not going to lie. I love it. I think it's great. Yeah. Yeah. So I was a big fan of the LIVEN Lofi-12.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a fantastic product. And this just sort of ups the ante. Does it all more than double, pretty much across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good bit of kit.
Cool stuff. Well, what we're going to do is we will talk about that in some detail in a little while. So we'll go. We'll ask Chris, to give us kind of a rundown of what it does, what it can do. I know that Chris has got an overhead there, so he can maybe sort of show us a few things. Mine isn't connected. I forgot to connect it before the show, so I'm just going to back away from that one. I'm going to sit and learn. But Chris has also done some, as he always does, some great tutorial videos, and the one for this one is clocks in at just over an hour, I think.
Yeah.
So there's a lot, there's a lot of information in there, and I do like the loop-hop style times down the side, which is very useful for you to skip through, and if you just want to dip in here and there. So that's really good. And there's surprisingly some other good kind of mini tutorials out there from other people this time. It seems like the bug has been caught, and they definitely go. And they seem to have learned their lesson as well. Well, I say learned lessons. They've taken on board suggestions. For example, the fact it actually comes with the SD card. And it's a decent SD card.
It's a good card, yeah.
It's Samsung 32 Evo Plus cards. It's a pretty decent SD card, and you don't have to go out and buy one of those as well. So that was they've listened, which is always good. I like a company that listens. Anyway, right. So we're heading towards Superbooth, in case you hadn't noticed, because we keep going on about it. Well, I do.
Surely not.
I'm getting so excited. It's only it's less than 2 weeks away now. It'll almost be over in 2 weeks. Oh, I'm getting sad. Anyway, because of that, lots of companies are either holding on to things to the last minute, a bit like a toddler that needs to go to the toilet, or they're getting them out there now, so they get a little bit of exposure before the deluge of other things that are coming. So there's a few bits of stuff to talk about. There's a couple of newsy bits that are not necessarily product related, but we'll talk about some of these things with Andrew, Chris, and if Kent joins us, maybe him as well. But we're not holding out there. I think maybe the first thing we should talk about is some good news in the electronic musical instrument development arena. And that is that Modal Electronics have been saved, shall we say, for want of a better phrase. They're back, baby. So they released this press release on the 1st of May, and anybody, if you read through this, it's a lot of corporate speak. There's a lot of carefully worded, judiciously edited stuff in there. It's the sort of thing you'll see in any kind of corporate press release. However, what it means is that Modal Electronics, which went into administration, I think, back in September of last year, we had a little bit of information back at that time that suggested that this was going to be a temporary thing, and that the company were... Sorry, I've just seen one of the comments and I have to stop myself from laughing. It's one of the... they were going to do this restructure, and that it was a temporary measure. But of course, as time wore on and we didn't hear anything, people started getting a bit worried. But anyway, the restructuring has been completed according to this, but there is still some way to go. So I spoke to Christian Stahl of Modal Electronics, who was the acting kind of managing director during the beginning of this transition period. I spoke to him just before this press release came out, and yes, the strategic restructuring has completed. However, there's lots of work to do because, as you can imagine, this company went into administration and lost all of its employees, and that's obviously not a good thing to happen, to have to lay people off. So I imagine that what Christian is now setting out to do is to build back the workforce and get hopefully as much of that knowledge and that talent back in, and maybe he's going to have to go and look elsewhere because these people hopefully will have found gainful employment elsewhere. But the good news is Modal's back, and the company that has kind of taken over is a company called Electronics Holdings Limited, and they have offices in Hong Kong, but they're essentially a Chinese company. And of course, that always starts ringing alarm bells with some people. Please remember that Electronics Holdings actually made modal synthesizers, whilst modal synthesizers were Modal Electronics. So
they did all the hardware, didn't they?
They did all the hardware. So they know the business, they know the products, they know the equipment inside out because they were building it. So I don't think there's anything to worry about. And the commitment is there to carry on building the Argon and the Cobalt range of synthesizers. As you might have seen, there was also this thing called the Carbonate, which was the next one in line, which they kind of showed at Superbooth last year. They showed at NAMM this year. So fingers crossed that will actually go into production at some point soon, and fingers crossed other things will happen. There are rumours as well that possibly Paula Maddox, who was part of the original Modal Electronics and then parted ways, might be being persuaded to come back in some shape or form. But that is completely unverified. It's just a rumour, but that makes me quite excited because Paula is a little bit of she's a rather large genius, large genius, not just large. But, yeah, you know what I mean? I'm digging my own hole.
Jeez. So
it's all good. It's all good stuff. And if Paula comes back, it'll be even better stuff. But we shall see. We shall see. So, yeah, there's all that technical blurb there, but the website is back. And so lots of people are kind of breathing a sigh of relief because they can continue to update their applications. And I believe all the sound libraries are still there to download. I haven't tried them yet. But, yeah, the website is there and you can do stuff. So that's good stuff. Andrew, as a... you don't have a... Do you have any modal stuff? It's Kent, Kent does,
I got involved very early on in some testing, which lasted... I was so busy, I didn't really have a chance to do anything with it. And I was... it was one of those things. But I've always liked the modal stuff, always. And any company which goes down... people face all sorts of problems, and especially in the times we've been through. For any company that is doing delivery out to places all over the world or getting stuff sourced from across the world, anyone that went through COVID, that whole period and managed to survive did really well.
Exactly.
They didn't, and it was deeply it was a real shame because everyone wanted to, and I think a lot of people thought that Christian. It was Christian. It is Christian, isn't it?
Christian Stahl was the acting MD whilst the transition.
A lot of people thought he was just going to do the dirty because I think a lot of people think that's what happens, but he clearly wanted to do the right thing, and he's found a way to take this forward with the people that were building all the hardware for them anyway. So this is a win-win at the moment, and I'm really glad to see them coming back. I know they've got plans for other things. I hope Paula also ends up back involved. And for anyone that thinks, having a Chinese company involved, we've been almost the entire music industry gets stuff built in China one way or another.
There's nothing, I don't think.
Let's not go there with that. I'm just really pleased it's back.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't ask for a better company to take control than the company that was pretty much building the stuff anyway. Yeah.
Chris, are you familiar with any of the...
I had an Argon 8X very briefly. Unfortunately, it turned up damaged. It was the last one in stock.
Oh, no.
So I sent it back. But briefly, when I was kind of really looking forward to getting stuck into the synth engine because it looked quite well laid out and just sort of very knobby, everything on the surface. Yeah, and it sounded really nice, but turned up broken, so had to be back in the post.
Yeah.
And they're also environmentally friendly, those argons and cobalts, because the end cheeks, although they look like plastic, are actually bamboo.
Oh, really?
Are they?
Bamboo end cheeks. Yeah, and they took that stuff seriously.
That's my new pet name for someone, Bamboo End Cheeks.
Bamboo end cheeks. There you go.
How you doing,
yeah.
Bamboo End Cheeks?
It was a very clever and innovative synth, and the fact that there was a platform, because we had Phil Taysom, the previous owner and MD of Modal, on the show a few years ago, just as these things were really sort of like getting very popular, and it was obvious that they got a platform that they could build on and retain a design that could be used across multiple different synthesizer engines, and he was very excited about what was potentially coming down the line, and that was just, I think it was kicking in just around COVID when it started, and he was having a lot of difficulty sourcing all of the components, not only finding stocks, but also finding stocks at decent prices, because the prices just shot through the roof, and in many cases they've stayed there, which is just horrible. But it was an awful thing, for any company to have to go through, and of course lots of good people obviously lost their jobs. Fingers crossed they're all okay, but fingers crossed maybe they can be persuaded to come back, which would be lovely. So there you go. Modal Electronics are back in the game, and they will be at Superbooth. I think it's only a fairly small presence, but they will be there, stand H101. Which I thought was a rather ominous number. But
are we hoping to get Christian on at some point? Because I think he said he might.
He promised us back in the day around sort of September time. He said, yes, I will come on when we've got things sorted. Well, now things are sorted. I was like, you coming on? And he said, yeah, it says things are sorted, but there's still lots and lots of work to do. So I'm meeting Christian at Superbooth, and we're hoping to get him on maybe sometime after the summer, when he's maybe not as rushed off his feet, but he has promised to come on, and we can hopefully see how far they've come then, and get a good idea. So if Christian's watching, nice one, mate, good luck, and fingers crossed, and we'll see you very soon. But that's Modal Electronics back in the game. Just want to say thank you to Human Error. Thanks for the great stream as ever. Big up all the beautiful people. Thank you very much. And of course, after that,
all the what?
He became a YouTube member for us, which is brilliant. There you go. You get a round of applause and a cheer. Of course, that is another way you can support the channel, is by becoming a YouTube member. And that just, again, it's a minimum, I think, of $2 US, whatever that equates to in your currency. And we do try, when we give stuff away on Patreon, I do try and duplicate that as much as I can on the YouTube platform, but it's not as flexible. For example, and I'm really sorry, but the Cherry Audio video, we couldn't make that available exclusively to YouTube members, because you would have to host the thing on YouTube, and therefore there's a link, and then it gets shared around. Even though it's getting shared publicly in about 5 days' time, there was no way that we could kind of keep that as an exclusive. So we apologise, but I do promise that I will give our YouTube members something a little special that maybe our Patreon members won't get, just to even the balance.
Some ointments.
Yes, some lotions and balms.
What do you think? Penguin of Death approves.
I like a good balm, yes.
Penguin of Death approves of lotions and balms.
So thank you, Human Error. Much appreciated support right there. Yes, Patreon added video uploads. That's exactly why Patreon worked for us, because we could just host it there without doing that. The only problem with doing it on YouTube is that even if you do it as an unlisted video, you can still get the links and stuff. But we'll sort it out. Right, okay, that is the news about Modal. There was some other the happy news. Let's get some balance. This one, I thought we'll quickly mention this because he is worth mentioning. But before we do, there's a Spong in the room. Hello, sir.
Right.
Are you still stuck on the lower floor?
Yeah.
Are you still stuck to the lower floor?
Yeah.
I had to spend the night in a dog's bed. And
Look, I'm going to show this to Fiona later. You just said, oh, I see. Sorry, right. Gotcha.
yeah. And it's surprising. Well, it's not surprising, but foxes are very active at night. Banging around under the floor here.
So you did actually sleep in the workshop?
Yeah.
I don't blame you, mate. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah,
So-
poor old. Yeah. As
Yes.
we mentioned earlier, Fiona has been doing some home improvements. Okay, maybe she hasn't. But yeah, it just means
Or
that,
you're chewing on
Yeah.
whatever that was you were about to say.
yeah, yeah, I wouldn't.
No, she used an oil-based varnish rather than a spirit-based one. It's still
I
wet.
see.
It's still wet.
But 16 hours it said on the tin,
Yeah. Yeah, I think
so
that
it didn't do exactly what it said on the
if
tin.
you're painting anything in Hawaii with it.
Yeah. Oh well, never mind. It's
This
all fun
April,
and games.
everyone.
There you go. That's
That's it.
is that another one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at its ribbon controller.
Oh.
Even
What's
many
wrong with that?
can see. Yeah, they all break up. Moisture off
Okay.
your fingers or whatever. So I have new one.
Ooh.
Oh, could we turn that into something we can stick on the front of the M8X? It's the MIDI.
Oh, you
isn't
wouldn't
it?
want to. No, you wouldn't want to. Trust me.
There you go. Anyway, good to see you, mate.
Thank you.
Are you going to be hanging around for the rest of the show?
Yeah, as long as the internet lasts.
Cool. Well, it's doing pretty well.
Just keep
So,
winding it up.
Yeah, indeed. So sorry to go on a bit of a Debbie Downer straight after you come on the show, but I thought it was appropriate that we recognise and mention the wonderful Richard Tandy, who I think for many people of our age, and I'm not including Chris in this because he's a young whippersnapper, but those of us, post mid-50s, Richard Tandy might well have been one of the reasons we got into synthesizers, because his work with ELO from, I think he joined after the first album. His work was massively influential to many people, and he was with ELO, joined in 72, all the way up until they eventually split in 86, and then when Jeff Lynne got the band back together, he joined again and was there right up until last year, I believe. And his work, I mean, just go and listen to ELO. You won't be disappointed at all, but listen for the synthesizers. And that's all Mr. Tandy, and he is was a hugely influential musician, and a remarkable musician as well, and unfortunately has gone and bleeding left us, bless his heart. So I just thought it'd be worth mentioning our respects to Mr. Tandy and his family and his wife Sheila, and just thought we'd recognise any favourite ELO tracks that you can, or any of you can remember. I mean, let's come to the baby in the room. Chris, are you an ELO fan?
I know some of the stuff. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not.
See, like I told
familiar
you,
with
kids.
It. Just I only know the hits. Just the hits.
Yeah, but even the hits are great, aren't they? I mean, they're just amazing. Kent, are you an ELO fan?
When I was 15, I went to, I think it was the Royal Albert Hall, and saw the Out of the Blue concert
Oh wow!
where they had the spaceship
Yeah.
over the stage.
Yeah, they're a proper band in every single sense of the word, weren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. It was, I think, the only other band that I'd heard at the time that were using CS80.
Yep.
And I loved the keyboard work in it. It was nice to have a rock band that had a lot of keyboard work in it instead of guitars going on all the time, So, and having strings in there. Yeah, I can see where I got a lot of my influences from.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of those chord progressions are just amazing. Because he was originally, he played, if I'm not mistaken, he played with The Move, which has had the connection.
Yeah.
Because obviously Roy Wood was in the original incarnation of ELO, and so there's this kind of Birmingham-based musicians link. And he played on, what was their big hit? Blackberry Way? Was it Blackberry Way? Or whatever. He played the harpsichord on that, apparently. Yeah. Was it Blackberry Way?
I'm just going to be
I'm a
thoroughly ignorant. No,
I'm
I
old
don't.
now. I can't remember.
Yeah, I know. I can't remember. Yeah. Goodbye, Blackberry.
We're all getting too old.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
I mean, saying that, the first ELO album, the one with the light bulb on the front, that was brilliant. But yeah, after that, when they get into the big pomp, and it's just brilliant stuff. So sadly, Richard Tandy passed away. But of course, we need to balance that. It's Dave Ball from Soft Cell's birthday today. And there's another synthesizer legend who is still with us. So let's
The man
celebrate
who tried
that.
to steal my dog.
There you go. You see,
Yeah.
he's a very nice man. Apparently, I've never personally had the pleasure, but he's a very nice man.
It was
and
Chris's birthday recently.
It was
Look at me.
Wasn't it your birthday
tomorrow.
recently?
tomorrow.
Yeah, it's the Star Wars Day.
Yeah.
Birthday.
May the 4th be with him.
Yes.
Where's the cake?
In the house.
Long live the Empire.
Everybody knows when. Yeah, everybody knows when it's your birthday. You bring cakes to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Duh.
yeah. Good point. I've got coffee.
Dear oh dear. Well, many happy returns for tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
No, leave him alone. He's a nice guest.
We won't hang on to you too long tonight, so you can go and have a few.
No worries.
So unfortunately, Richard Tandy passed away, but fortunately, Dave Ball's still with us, and it's his birthday today, and it's Chris's birthday tomorrow. So celebrations all round. Hey! And I think that deserves a. There we go. Hopefully, that didn't hurt too many people's
Did I
ears.
wake you up? Sorry.
Right. Shall we talk about synthesizers? Because there are some stuff. Oh, hello, Siri.
There we go.
There was all that fucking noise. Sorry, darling. Sorry.
You go back to sleep now, darling. Right.
get back
Let's talk about some synthesizers. Let's bring this one in, because this one literally came in sort of fairly late in the day for us. And this is a brand new synthesizer. Oh, thank you. Oh, before we do, Andy, thank you so much. Last contribution to the beer fund.
Wow.
No, that's brilliant. Thank you ever so much indeed.
So
really,
lovely.
really appreciate it. Thank you. So, have I got a video for this? I might have a video for this. Yeah, I've got a video. We won't play all of it, but here's a little taster of, and I hope I'm saying this right. This is the Alt, A-L-T, from Chymaformer or Cymaformer. I don't know. You figure it out.
Hi, I'm Vincent, and this is Alt. Alt is an analog soundscape synthesizer. We designed it as a tool for musical sound design that would allow anyone to find their own sound, the sound that would move them. From an underwater forest to relaxing waves, or a more harmonic sound. Alt has many faces. It's divided in 3 sections. The first one is voices, the birthplace of the sound. Each voice can play a precise frequency freely, allowing to create acoustic beats. The voices can also play notes from 5 different scales, easily creating melodies. Each voice can be played left or right in the stereo field. The next section is where you can give character to your sound. We named it Alter. It has a very cool filter inspired by the Korg MS-20 and a crazy delay module that can create infinite feedback loops. The third section is movement, the place where things get very interesting. This is where the sound of alt is set in motion, using a pin matrix. The matrix has 4 modulation sources that you can assign to 17 destinations, using pins like a game of Battleship. Combining them will create intricate rhythmic and melodic patterns. Amongst the modulation sources, there are 2 low-frequency oscillators, or LFOs. In this example, LFO1 is modulating both the filter cutoff and the pitch of the second oscillator.
Right, we're going to leave that there because that video goes on for about 7 or 8 minutes, but it's a really good demonstration of what this thing is, and it's quite unique. And the more I watch it, the more I'm actually thinking, oh, this is not bad. I love the way they embraced the whole battleship thing. They actually said it's like battleships, because when I see a pin matrix, I just think, yes, I've sunk your submarine. So this, so this is the. I hope it's chymoform or a cymoform, I'm not entirely sure. It's another piece of French brilliance, I think. What I didn't realise until I read through all the blurb is that not only is this an analog synthesizer with all of those tone generators and the filter is kind of based on the MS-20 and all of that modulation stuff, but it also has 2 light sensors and a built-in microphone that allows for spontaneous sound modulation based on the lighting and the acoustics of the room. And I can't wait to see exactly how that works. I'm hoping they might be at Superbooth and we can have a demonstration. But it's a 5-voice synth with different waveform shapings and all of these different scale modes and everything. And then you've got this lovely filter in there, which they say it's based on the MS-20 style filter. So very resonant, and and then the whole movement section, which is controlled by that lovely little pin matrix. People are speculating. I don't know where. I haven't had any official price on this, but word is apparently it's going to be around $1,000. It's going to be launched on Kickstarter on May 22nd. So if you want to get an early bird discount, get on that mailing list on their website, which is chymoformer.com. And you'll be able to do that. But that is pretty. When I first looked at it, I thought, oh, here we go. It's just another take on something. But it's. I really kind of like this. What do you think, Chris?
So I tried to have a quick look at the pin matrix and various sockets and stuff, as I usually do when I'm looking at gear. How sort of controllable from external sources is it? Is there anything?
That's a good
CD
question.
ins and
You can control it from MIDI. You can. There's all sorts of different ways of control. There are ways of controlling it.
Nice.
And it apparently offers stereo. I thought it said stereo sampling for a minute. It was stereo panning. But big delay on there as well. By the sounds of it, they kind of make a lot of that. So yeah, it's a really cool thing. But
it does seem like you could have quite a lot of fun with it, just standalone, just making drones and
yeah.
Do
you know the first person I thought about was Andy Synchrotron, who does a show every 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning, which is mainly kind of drone based. And I thought, oh, he'd like this. And as soon as we started playing this, there was a comment from him in the chat. Oh, I like this. So it wasn't wrong there. But yeah, I think somebody like Andy would make really good use of that. What do you reckon, Kent? Just
I like its attention to detail. Actually, the way it has free form tuning on the sliders, but then also has quantized note tuning as well. For anybody who's ever tried to match all 3 VCOs on an ART 2600 will know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I like it. It's probably not for me. But it certainly looks like an interesting thing to sit down with and mess around. But I think I'd borrow somebody's rather than buy one.
Yeah. I'm just fascinated by this whole light sensor and microphone thing affecting the way it works, because I'd never thought of that as a thing before, and that's I like things that are really left field, not just rehashing stuff that's already been done. The fact that this instrument will react to where you are and how it sounds where you are It's just ingenious. What do you reckon, Andrew?
Well, as long as you're not in wood green, it's good.
Well, quite, yeah.
There's been quite a few. There's been quite a few soundscape generating synths come out over the last couple of years, and none of them have really been for me. None of them really. I get them, but they're not really for me. This one, however, the opening part of that video, and later on, just before we cut away, it takes me straight back to the sort of experimental psychedelia almost music of the late 60s, early 70s, Floyd's Saucerful of Secrets, Tangerine, all of those. But because it's doing it in a modal way so that the notes can be random, you can set a scale to any of the oscillators and then randomly have them pitch through the different notes within a scale. It just took me straight back to a point where I just went, do you know what, that's a really good jumping off point. And it is, as Kent says, they've paid a lot of attention to the detail on this. I just love anything that's got a pin matrix, as long as it doesn't go manky and break. I love the idea of it. This is something I really can see me getting. It's the kind of thing I'd use. It is absolutely the kind of thing I might use for a different sort of live performance, EMOMs or whatever. I really actually, and I like the sound of it.
Yeah, it's an ingenious thing, and I'm hoping that they appear at a show, at least if it's not Superbooth, somewhere else. I'd like to have a go at one of these, and it'd be interesting to see exactly how much it is. And the only way to do that is to sign up to the Kickstarter and find out. Sign up to the mailing list and then get notified when the Kickstarter starts. Let's have a quick look at the full specifications. Let's bring this back in.
It'd be interesting to know whether or not the LFOs can sync to MIDI clock or any other kind of clock, or just to clock, CV or clock or whatever.
Yeah,
just some way of syncing.
Why wouldn't?
But it's lovely.
It's one of these collapsible doodahs, right? Okay.
I've got a
analog sound
doodah.
engine, polyphony, monophonic with an external keyboard, or 5 voices with the mechanical sliders, sine VCO and 4 VCOs with saw or triangle plus a white noise generator, harmonic scales.
This is getting into kind of a hybrid of VCS3 and Buchla. It's a very different, lovely thing. What do you think, Ken?
Yeah, but like I said, probably not my bag, but definitely an interesting thing. I don't see why the LFOs wouldn't be clockable at all, because obviously they're going to be digital LFOs anyway.
Well, it's my birthday soon, so if you want to buy it and send it to me, that's fine. I'd be really, really. I wouldn't mind if you did that.
Oh, I might have to buy a new set of stairs before now.
Yeah.
So I can get upstairs.
Tread carefully.
It's got CV gate and out pitch. It's got MIDI input via 3.5mm TRS, which features master pitch bend, velocity, and clock.
Whoa.
So, and then headphones and audio out. So they haven't gone massively overboard, but there seems to be enough there for that to kind of be sort of plugged into most people's kind of systems and probably do something rather cool. Yeah, it would be interesting to sort of get a few more bits and bobs information. So if you want to know where to go for this, and this is the first time I've done this on this show, I've actually put all the links there. So they're on the screen, even though our lovely moderators do tend to put them up into the chat for it. But there you go, chimaformer.com. That's it there. I've just seen the wonderful Jamie Morden, Mr. Geosynths, in the chat. Welcome, sir. I hope you're feeling better. I hope the ears are clearing.
No,
and
their ears are feeling better.
Yes.
I'm going to get letters. I know
you're going to get the. I know. I get the letters. So. And OFF, I saw some pictures that Jamie took of the lovely black bull looking rather glorious in the sunshine. So hopefully he's out and about and getting some fresh sea air, and that'll clear your pipes, mate. Hope to see you back at it ASAP. So welcome, sir. And if you haven't already, go and check out the GeoSynths YouTube channel. Give them a subscribe and a like, because it's well worth it. It's lots of really, really good content on there. And of course, Jamie also is the master of one of the masters of sound design. He's got some excellent patches to buy on his website, of which I have availed myself of a few. They are rather good. So well done, Jamie. Good to see you in the chat. Right,
Yeah.
let's get rid of that off of the screen there, and we get rid of this from here. And we're sort of coming up onto the hour mark, so we'll do a little quick one, and then we'll come to Chris, because we want to talk this. Okay, so let's put this one in. Let's do this instead. So this is the news that came out yesterday, I believe. Reason 13 is on its way, and as is Reason Studios want, they release a beta version about 6 weeks ahead, just to iron out the final bugs. I used to be part of their test pilot scheme, and I just couldn't commit the time to do it. So I kind of backed out of doing that. So I haven't had a chance to play with this at all. Although they have promised me to send me a copy very soon. But I'm a Reason subscriber anyway. So if you are one of the Reason subscribers, I think it's like $19.99 a month. You get Reason and access to all of the sound content in the library and a whole bunch of other stuff as well. But Reason 13 is on its way. And what's new in Reason 13? Well, they've got a new browser, by the way, which is good, but the old browser wasn't awful. But they have finally upgraded the sequencer, and anybody that uses Reason will know that that has been one of the biggest demands from the community for a very, very long time. Now, unfortunately, this is all I've got to go on, is a picture, but it certainly looks bigger, more expanded. According to them, it's been split into two. There's a new edit area. You can keep a track of the arrangement as well as, you know, where you are in the piano roll, which therefore, I mean, to me, that just looks very like Logic and maybe many other linear sequences where you've got your arrangement page at the top, and then underneath, when you've selected a section or a region, you see the piano roll. So it looks very much, you know, sort of Logic-like in that respect. Together with several new workflow improvements, improved zooming, layout changes, and easy access to editing features, they've finally gone and done it. So I'm really looking forward to giving that a go. It's got better screen colorings now, because I think they just had 3. Now you can sort of customize the look and sound. But most interestingly, they've got a brand new dual layer synthesizer called Polytone, which looks interesting. Sounds great in the demos as well. There's the Ripley Space Delay.
That's nice.
Which does look nice, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really nice delay.
And more Reason tools. So there's a sidechain tool that just helps you get, if you like to use sidechaining for ducking and pumping. Sounds odd, doesn't it? But yeah, there's a gain tool, there's a stereo tool, and it looks really cool. And if you want to get onto the beta testing program, all you've got to do is ask. Sign up, and they will hopefully assign that to you ahead of time. But there was one or two sort of comments, should we say, on our Facebook page, implying that, you know, that Reason, and this is the thing with Reason, right? So I've been a Reason user now since, I can't remember, 3 or 4 was the not my age, but the version. I only wish it was. And it's always had this kind of reputation as being more of a toy-like thing, not a serious music production tool, because of its kind of closed, you know, for many years it was a very closed environment.
Only in certain quarters, though. I have to say that's always been a split for it. Yeah. There have been many people that have made use of it to make some cracking things, and as part of their production workflow, Reason is a really good thing. I don't happen to use it much myself, but I've always liked it and admired it. And there was enough people coming back after some less than generous comments about it and or the pro synth network, which is that's debatable. But Reason is a really good thing. It's a really good tool set.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it was, as I say this every time we talk about Reason, at a particular time, it was the one production tool that worked with the way my brain works, and I could get out stuff from here into there far more quickly than anything else. It just worked for me, and this is why I still keep it to this day, even though I'm sort of moving into the world of live, and I have to use Logic for a lot of work stuff. Reason still for me, if I get an idea, it's the first thing I open, because it works as a plugin, or all the instruments work as a plugin with any other tool. If you just happen to use Reason's instruments, it's fine, because you can then take it and use it in Logic or Cubase or Live or whatever. It just works. So I know a lot of people nowadays do tend to use it more as an instrument than maybe the center of their production. However, Liam Howlett did a whole Prodigy album on Reason. Can't remember which one it was. The one with Spitfire on. Something must. Everyone must know. I can't remember what the name of the album was, but anyway, Beastie Boys were massive users of Reason, really big users, and lots of others besides. So it's really good. Now, I did speak to one of the early beta testers who told me this is a really good improvement. So I'm very excited about this. Kent, have you ever dabbled with Reason, or are you're just Cubase through and through? Cut his head off and it says Steinberg down the middle, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I have tried it out, but yeah, I'm so set in my ways. Yeah. Chop Steinberg. Yeah,
indeed, yeah. What about you, Chris? Are you a Reason guy?
No, I started an FL Studio, and that was kind of the other path to go. Back then, and that's also not considered to be a serious piece
exactly. That's
music
another
making software, but it's
yeah.
just, I don't know, people are kind of snobby, aren't they?
Yes.
About stuff like that, frankly.
Very.
Just whatever works for you, I think, is the one to go with.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll look forward to that coming very soon. The release date is June 18th, so we've only got about 5 weeks to go. 6 weeks, maybe. So looking forward to that. Very excited, because it's always nice to get a good Reason update.
And two of my friends who I will shout out. One is Lawrence Rapper Puricelli, goes under the trade name, under the name of ArcSun, who does music and he does sound banks and all sorts of things. Cracking guy. He loves Reason. He used it for a very long time. And also Andy Floss Voss of Decipher Manana and Alcatraz Swim Team used it for everything. And some of the stuff they turned out was just what. Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah, it's a really good thing. So yeah.
Always good to see Reason carrying on doing what it's, because they had a bit of a restructure, and when they went from Propeller Heads to Reason Studios, and they had Ernst, who was the guy, one of the guys behind the founding of the company, moved on, and it felt like they might have kind of lost their way a little bit, but it looks like they're back. Hello Siri.
There's a million phones going off at the moment, going what all over the world.
You should call the other one Alexa.
Yeah.
Oh, she didn't respond. That's good. Right, okay. Now it's time for the main event. I should have some big bells here, shouldn't I? Ding, ding, ding. Main event. We're going to be talking about the Sonicware Lofi-12 XT, but before we do, I think we should have a little teaser from the company themselves. Now, of course, you don't need to back them on Kickstarter anymore because it got backed and it got made and it's now available to the entire proletariat. So here it is. This is what it is. And you might recognise that form factor because it's exactly the same. And the Sonicware do seem to be the masters of utilising the same form factor. It's exactly the same as a SmplTrek. Same number of buttons, everything in the same places, but everything does things slightly differently. And this is why we've got Mr. Lody on. Because he does all these amazing tutorial videos, and this is one. This is the LoFi-12 XT full tutorial. It weighs in just over an hour and 5 minutes, and it takes you through how to do stuff basically from beginning to end. Oh, it goes quiet. There we go.
Hi everybody, I'm Chris, and this is the LoFi-12 XT.
So, we obviously won't go through all of that because it's an hour. No. However, Chris goes through the basics of all of that, but there's this one bit here. I've got to pause it. Am I going to get this right? I had this video all lined up to watch, and I paused it to go and do some work, and it's basically Chris looking at me rather judgmentally, like, why aren't you learning the LoFi-12 XT? It's kind of, anyway, that joke's kind of lost, but there you go. You can see all of the chapters are marked there. It is a fully chaptered video, so once you've sat through the entire thing, if you just want to remember what Chris said about maybe sample searching, then you can just find the bit and click on it. It's around there somewhere. It's that easy to find. And there you go. So, Chris.
Yes.
Where is he? There he is. He's right there.
Hello.
Tell us. First of all, I think one of the big questions that people are asking about the LoFi-12 XT, given that it looks identical to the SmplTrek, what is the difference between a LoFi-12 XT and the SmplTrek?
Yeah, that's a fair question because they're both samplers.
Yeah.
The focus of the SmplTrek is much more about arrangement. You've got like an arrange view up front that looks very similar to something you have in Ableton Live. Mm-hmm. So you can trigger clips and scenes, so you can build arrangements live. I've actually been using one in my band with my gear over here with drum sequences on it. So as we go through songs, if we want to change to another section, I could just go pop and it cues up the next section and off it goes. It's kind of like an arranger sampler. It's built more with that in mind. It does lots and lots of different things. It's got specific track types, so specifically one for sending MIDI out, an instrument one, a drum one for handling loops, and one for one shots. And then also additionally you've got global tracks that run right through the sequence that you can record like vocals to and comp and chop them up. So it's kind of a song building sampler.
Like a door in the box, really, isn't it?
Yeah. It doesn't do much sound design. So you're sampling, you're kind of limited to voice modes that were added in a later update. So you've got poly, mono, and legato modes. You can run that through a filter, but there's no filter envelope. So that's part of the mixer. You can have filters or EQs in your mixer. And you've got a couple of effects you can use. Whereas the XT is very much sound design up front. The whole interface is built with that in mind. Shall I switch to the other camera? Shall I go swanky and go for it?
Yeah, look at us all professional.
Go. There we go. So sorry about the horrible colour, but this is the best one I could find for short notice. So it's whereas the SmplTrek, I'm just going to shuffle that over here. SmplTrek, from the front home screen, I'm just triggering my own stuff here by accident. The numbered keys and also the tracks at the bottom are for triggering different parts of the sequence. So if I hit 1, it triggers scene 1 with all the parts. If I move over into scene 2, we can trigger.
Quite an incredible urge to go, jungle is massive!
It's actually really strange. The only project I could find that didn't include lots of MIDI tracks, because I've been using it to sequence synthesizers.
Right.
quite a lot, so a lot of my projects won't play fully because they're not connected to a MIDI synth. And this is jungle, and so is this. So all the presets I've been making for the XT are also like drill and bass stuff.
Right.
So yeah, it's all very very jungly. But yeah, so that's your main interface on SmplTrek, and then you have to go into individual clips to edit. You've got a piano roll style interface for editing all your notes and stuff. So each one of these clip types is different. So that's an instrument with obviously a keyboard for interacting with stuff, and then the drum works differently. So each of these clip types, each of the track types rather, is specifically for one purpose.
Yeah.
Whereas on the XT, everything's really handled everything's handled like a synth voice essentially. So it's just one track type, and then you have different voice modes. So in here we have poly, slice for slicing up sample into multiple parts, and then mono with a legato switch. So rather than having any kind of track type, they're all exactly the same. So then, so on here we've got, so this is let's just go and play this project briefly, well, rather pattern. I'm going to load that from there. So that's one of my preset patterns. So each of these tracks plays a different sound. So there's 8 tracks across the bottom. So track 1, if I hold function trigger, it's not going to play the sound, where if I play the track, it's going to trigger the sound that's located in each of these. But I can go to sound, and we can see we are.
So what you're hearing there is just a single note of the sound, rather than it being spread across a keyboard, so you can play. That's
right. So with each of the tracks, you can trigger the sound located in each of the waveforms loaded into it just by pressing the track. But this is in slice mode, so we're only hearing one little tiny bit of this.
Okay.
So I can enter the slice screen here, and we can see all the different slices I've got of this drum break.
Okay.
So each one of these is chopping in a different way. And then if I go back out of here, excuse me, I can't quite see the screen. And then we go to a different, let's load. So these are also sliced kits. This is just a subwave, so this is just a low sort of sine wave. And we can go into pad mode here and play it like you play it with the keyboard. And the same is true of the kits. So if I just press that and go into pad mode, we've got the slices laid out.
Gotcha.
So you can play on the pads and record it in real time, or you can enter the notes into the sequence here. So if you press record, you can just slap notes directly into the sequence. And the same is true in obviously any instrument that's in like a poly or a mono mode. You can hold a step and play a note directly in, and it's all just laid out directly in front of you. There's no like going in and out of different sections. It's all just like, I want to be on track 1, I want to be in the filter, I want to be on track 6 in the amp. It's just there.
Yeah. So that's the first thing I noticed was that quick access into it was just
So all the tracks have got the same features. So you've got config for determining the length and style of the sequence. Sound will give you access to the voice mode and the waveform that you've loaded. You've got a filter with an envelope, and then you've got 2 LFOs that you can route freely on each track to quite a lot of different destinations. We've got an amp envelope with this is where the delay and reverb sends live to, and the effects slot. Is that me or you?
I think that's Kent.
I thought it was triggering like a really fast roll on one of the drum kits. And then, so the reverb tab on the end is like a global setting.
Yeah.
So, these are just the mix amounts. The send returns, I think is the correct phrase. So we should control those with the A and B knob.
Yeah.
So
because it still employs the same methodology of the SmplTrek, where you've got these A, B, C, and D rotaries. So whatever page you're on, there'll be options that are marked A, B, C, or D, and those correspond to the knobs. But also they're clickable knobs, so you can do other things through that, can't you?
That's right. So like on the filter here, A moves the frequency, B changes the type, But then if we go to the amp, we can change the attack and release with B, and then you can click this and it will switch between an ASR and an AR envelope. So yeah, it's all just quite clearly laid out.
And also one of the other differences is the D-pad. We'll call it the D-pad.
Yes.
On the SmplTrek was just a navigation tool, but on this it's a navigation tool and...
Yes, so we can go back to track 1 and go to this pad, and I can play the drums and then use the D-pad to add rolls. So, and you've got velocity sensitivity, or more like an aftertouch actually, of the roll over time. So if you hold,
I like that a lot.
yeah, and that's how I played all this stuff in on these drum and bass patterns. I played it all in using the pads and the D-pad, and
Yeah,
you
so
can get.
The pads are velocity sensitive and pressure sensitive.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
So it was a great way to input this kind of stuff, just finger drumming it in rather than, because I do make this kind of music also in renoise, which I love. It's a tracker, and you have to program each of those repeats in by hand, afterwards. And it takes ages, but I could just jam it all in.
Yeah.
And it captures micro timing. So if I go into one of the steps, you can see these, some of these, unless I've deleted it all. No, so some of them will show micro timing. So here we've got a bar that we can move around with C. So that's how, where it sits before or after the beat.
Yeah.
But so that's captured that as a played, but then I've just gone and quantized it because I wanted it to be straight. So you can just play all this stuff in, and then you leave quantize turned on, and it plays back nice and straight.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Underneath the mute button, because so those 8 buttons that sit above the step sequencer are dual function. So if you hold the function button down, the thing that's listed underneath will be the thing. Now, underneath the mute button, there's a little image of a cassette. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I guess go into here. Boom. There we go. So we've got this background mixtape feature. This will start to record once it's turned on when we hit play, and should switch itself automatically once the volume drops. And we can determine like a tape type in here. So if I just switch monitoring on and choose a different tape type, let's go right down the bottom to like mono micro cassette. This is going to affect the audio capture as well as the output if we've got a monitor switched on. So that won't affect the quality of the sound, but then you've got these different cassette types as well. And like I say, once enabled's turned on and you hit play, that's just going to capture down to the SD card.
Okay.
And then stop automatically. So you can essentially sort of create a mix on here and then just record it straight into the SD card and chuck that in your computer or connect it via USB, and it should be there ready to go.
And what it outputs is just like a stereo audio file?
Yeah, that's right. Just a WAV. Yeah.
So essentially it's sitting in the background just listening, and as soon as you start playing something, it's now recording that as a digital stereo audio file. So you could use that to deliberately capture stuff, but also, if you're messing around, jamming around, you'll have captured that, and you can then maybe go back to it as a reference.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's sort of just constantly going.
Very clever.
And there's I didn't mention the master effect as well. There's a master effect which we can use for compression, and it has, again, I can't quite see, that's the wrong switch. We can use it for sidechain. So we can choose a target with the C knob and then assign a source with the C knob and assign targets with the D knob.
Gotcha.
So we can use a kick to compress everything.
Awesome. So you mentioned that obviously SmplTrek is kind of like an all-in-one kind of production tool that you can sequence external MIDI gear from.
That's right.
Can you sequence external gear from the Lo-Fi-12
You can as well, yeah. So if we just go out of pad mode.
And that was a question from Jamie.
Was it? So yeah, if we just pick a track and go to sound, and slot 1 is always off. So once that sound is switched off, it won't be using the polyphony. And then we can go into the system menu, and we can see in MIDI we've got tracks, so you can determine which channel each track is on. So this will be sending out MIDI on channel 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent stuff. I was just going to see. So here's a question. Another question from Jamie. what's the reason to choose one of these over, say, one of these other? I mean, Electron was the example that Jamie used there, but there are a number of kind of sampling groove box type things. What are the unique selling points of this maybe over something like an Electron, other than obviously the price?
Yeah, well, it's tricky to answer that because there's just there's such a lot to talk about. But I mean, so like you have more
That's
bang
Kent
noises
again.
That
That's
wasn't me.
I'll put him on mute. Look, there you go.
So you have up to 64 megabytes of sampling per project on this.
Right.
So you have a 32 gigabyte SD card that comes with it, which has got, I think, 2,500.
That's the maximum it can have, isn't it?
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's got about 2,500 samples on there from the 5 or 6 different sound designers. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Each of us contributed lots of different things. So there's a huge sound library on there already. And you've got quite a lot you can do per track. So obviously you've got this, like I say, the 2 LFOs that can be routed to all sorts of different places. You can get really experimental by modulating like the sample start times and things like that. The LFOs can modulate each other. You've got obviously an effect per track, so you can create quite sort of complex mixes. You've got a song mode too, so you can chain one of 128 patterns per project. So I can't remember, is it 256 projects can live on the device. Each can have 128 patterns, and then each of those projects can have 16 different song configurations. So the song mode will play through. Let's just go in and edit this. We can set up different rows within these songs for the specific patterns to play a certain number of times at different tempos. So you can create whole tracks on this thing.
Yeah, they are very versatile. John wants to know if the case is metal. No, it's not. It's not. No. It's very solid plastic. I mean, they obviously I won't go throwing it around, but
no,
they're very well built. These things.
You can get a case for it.
You can
buy a case. You can buy deck savers as well. There's
yes.
one for SmplTrek which will fit straight onto this.
So if anybody's interested, you can, if you buy the Lo-Fi XT. Lo-Fi-12 XT from Sonicware, you can add one of these on for just $30 extra US, and then you can also buy them separately. And in there you have space. I can never get them. There you go. Space for your unit, and then power supply and other accessories in there as well. And they're very sturdy and very very nice things. So yeah, custom made, because again that was something that the community was kind of asking for a lot. Was cases for them. People were coming up with lunch boxes, Tupperware.
Yes, that's what I've got for the SmplTrek.
there was a guy in the unofficial Sonicware Discord channel. Some guys in America were using gun cases. This is a case for a Colt 45 or something or other, and it fits my SmplTrek perfectly. Yeah, brilliant. Well, I mean, I'm all for replacing guns with the SmplTreks for
Just
sure.
leave the gun on the mantelpiece.
Absolutely.
And put your SmplTrek in a box. Yeah.
32 gigs of storage is very good. But it's worth pointing out though that both the SmplTrek and the Lo-Fi 12 XT use the non-high capacity, so the standard kind of capacity SD cards, of which 32 meg is the biggest you can get.
Yes, STHC is the.
That's it. Yeah,
that's the max.
But unlike the SmplTrek, this actually comes with it comes with a card. With the SmplTrek, you had to provide your own, which I think threw a few people. So they've actually included it, and it comes with, as you say, a huge amount of sample material, factory created by yourself and your colleagues.
And there's a tag search on this one as well.
Oh right, okay.
Surfing through the So if we go into sound, then press the A knob. We're presented with a tag search. I don't know how well that's going to come up on the screen.
Yeah.
But the pads then determine which sounds pop up. So if I just go bass drum and synth, that's going to give us like 808 kicks and stuff. We can go through,
and it triggers as you select it. Yeah.
And we can take stuff away. So if I don't want, which is it? I press that, and that's not going to do anything. I can minus the synth drums from the bass drums, and that was going to give us acoustic drums. Theoretically, if the tags are set up correctly. So you can record obviously stuff in yourself with the mic or the line-ins and tag it and be able to find it really easy.
Yeah, and talking of connection, I know some people have been asking about connectivity. So on the back, you have full-size MIDI, which is great. Then you have two TRS 6.4mm inputs, which can be high Z as well for guitars, as well as instruments. And then you've got two outputs and then the power supply. On the back, not only have you got a tripod mount, which I think is really useful, you also it's battery powered, 6 AA's, if you want to do that, so you can take it out on the road. And I know with the SmplTrek, the batteries actually last quite a while. And then on that side, you've got the SD card slot and, Wagyu's favourite, the micro USB port, where if you just want to connect up, if you don't want to mess around with taking the card in and out, you can just connect it up and it then shows up as a mass storage device on that. It doesn't do anything else. That's purely a data port, isn't it, the USB?
Oh, no, it'll do, USB audio MIDI.
Oh, it does audio MIDI?
Yeah,
of course, yes,
yeah.
because they double up as an audio interface as well, don't
That's
they?
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
So this
of
one will do
course.
that too, and you can
Silly
also
thing.
sample through the USB audio. Which is quite
Of
cool.
course,
So you can,
yes.
like, stick your phone straight
Glad I
in,
got you on.
play something, and record it straight in.
Yeah. And, sorry, I forgot that on the front of the device there's a
yeah.
headphone port. So that's and it has a built-in speaker for what it's worth. You know, if you wanted to annoy people on the underground and you didn't have your headphones, you could do that. And
It's
also,
I quite like that kind of thing, just to check that your mixes sound okay when they're playing on a mobile.
Exactly.
Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
because that's what the kids do these days.
Because like,
isn't it?
everybody listens on tiny
Yeah.
speakers, so check your mixes on that.
Built-in microphone with its own gain port as well, and a peak meter. So that you want to sample, and just like the SmplTrek, you can just sample anything at any time, and sync in and out here. So if you want to hook up to other sync devices such as Korg Volkers and other Sonicware stuff like the Livens and all that kind of stuff.
The Belfast.
Indeed. So
Belfast sync. Yeah.
we didn't employ him for his comedy. Anyway, so there you go.
What a
that
look,
is
Ken.
the LoFi-12 XT. It's available now. And let me just, because I know people have been asking, how much is it? Let me just switch to the website. Right, so here is the website. You can get this now for just $399 or £399 or €429, which is just exchange rate differences. That's all it is. So that's the
nuts.
intro deal.
That's nuts.
It should be $499. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cheap.
And those will start shipping in a couple of weeks. And then, of course, what you might have seen is that Chris has got that one, and I've got this one, which is the limited edition retro colour scheme. Although, Chris, I do believe one of those is winging its way to you as we speak.
Should be. Once the backers have got theirs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I'm at the bottom of the queue.
But I was very fortunate. They gave me the choice, and I'm a bit of an Akai head, so it was just like, I've got to have that one, and it matches the colour of the LIVEN one that I've got. So that's a little bit more expensive. So it's only £30 or $30. So it's $429 US UK, and I think it's $469 in euros. But double check that when you go to the website, and when you order that on the website, on the Sonicware website, you have the option to add the case for another $30 or so. And it's just it's a really, really cool thing. I say it for me. This is more of an instrument than the SmplTrek. The SmplTrek is this kind of ideas machine creation, sort of portable creation tool, whereas the Lofi-12, whilst it's still a portable creation tool, it's more of an instrument that you can really sort of manipulate your sounds with, rather than sort of just organising them. So
it's almost nothing in common between them. Actually, it's very difficult to list it.
Although
out,
they
but
look very much the same. There's a lot. And I know that this has been said a lot, about the screen and the size of the screen. It is a small screen. There's no getting away from it. But it's the layout and the design of all the pages, plus the clarity of that screen, is such that even me, with my absolutely awful eyesight, I have no issue using it. It's very usable. So if you want to see one of these in action, I'm seriously considering bringing this to Berlin with me just to mess around with. Just record some sounds from around the site and see if I can cobble something together in my hotel room late at night.
And what about a mix?
Indeed.
Yeah.
So there it is. There is the Sonicware Lofi-12 XT. If you back that at Kickstarter time, then yours will be shipping, if it hasn't already, very, very soon. But there's lots of videos, and of course the best one to start with is Chris's full tutorial, which is an hour, 5 minutes and 58 seconds worth of very, very good tutorial. And I know it takes a lot of effort to chapterize these things, so it's great that you've done that. So you can watch it in its entirety, and then if you need to dip back in for a specific thing, it's very easy to do that. So well done for that.
Thank you.
So there you go. We've answered most of the questions, I believe. John asked what's the price. Hopefully we've just answered that for you. There was another question. Yeah, there was another question.
$399 for the black one and $429 for the more retro looking one. Yeah.
Human Error says, what's the best easy-to-use, quick, choppy-uppy sampler out there without all the menu-diving ball bags? I don't know what else is out there that is instantaneous. I mean, I don't know. I haven't actually had a go with the Teenage Engineering KO133 or whatever it's called. I don't know how menu-divey that is, but a lot of people are getting rather excited about that. Yamaha SU10, there you go. There's one from back in the day where there's virtually no menus on that whatsoever, but that wasn't necessarily a good thing. What do you think? Have you got any ideas on other sort of non-menu divey, choppy-uppy, portable sampler type things?
Mirage?
Me?
Mirage, yeah, but you can't really stick it. Yeah, it's not
if it ain't there, can't use it, can you?
Yeah, it's very true.
The Akai's, the new Akai stuff, that's all pretty quick and fast and mad. That's pretty good for that.
Oh,
yeah, SP404.
SP404, yeah. See a lot of
SP404.
people talking about it.
There's a lot. All of it just comes down to what suits your particular workflow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. It is very much one of those. Does it suit your modus operandi?
And it's always, isn't it always horrible when someone asks you to recommend something? Someone said, what's the best piano thing on? It's kind of go and play it. You may not like a weighted one. You may want a semi. You may want, who knows?
Yeah.
And any recommendation is kind of don't take my word for it. Go and try it, and if you like it, buy it.
And unfortunately, it's not as easy to do these days as it used to be back in the day because there aren't so many shops out there. You can just wander in and go, I'll have a play with some of this. Particularly if you're in America, because Sam Ash have just decided to completely shut down and finish business after 100 years of bricks and mortar music trading. Yep, just announced yesterday. They're shutting all the remaining. I think they had about between 40 and 50 stores left, and yet gone.
That's a shame.
Well, that's a good reason to watch really long YouTube videos.
Exactly.
and if you really want to try some of this stuff out, and there's not a music store, then just go and knock on Robbie's door, and he'll show you. Or Kent's very welcoming. Chris has said he'll even give you birthday cake if you go in the next couple of days. So Phil, don't come around here though, because I'm grumpy.
Koala sampler on the any iOS device gets a lot of love, particularly from Mike Metlake. Again, he's always banging on about that.
He's got a nasty cough though. Did you see that? Oh,
that's another good one.
Oh, the black box is that?
The black box, yeah. Although it's not portable in terms it can't be battery powered. It's a very useful, powerful tool, and it's not massively menu divey. Well, there's a little bit in there, but you've got all those direct access buttons down here, and you say these very nice knobs. So there you go, brilliant stuff. I think that's pretty much. Do you think we've covered the Lofi-12?
Yeah, unless anyone's got other questions.
Yeah, if you have any more questions, throw them into the chat. Put a big capital Q in front, and we'll we're on the air for another half an hour, so we can throw those questions at Chris. If not, Chris is around on. You're part of our Facebook group, aren't you, as well? So,
Okay.
So if you have any questions, Chris might be lurking. He's a busy guy, so don't hassle him. But there's always a way to get in touch. And Sonicware themselves are very, very responsive within social media and on the various platforms. And they, of course, they are also responsive in terms of listening to their customers and their users and adding those features. And people were worried that this thing might stop in terms of development. It's not, because they're working on new firmware at the moment, I think, or working on new features.
Yeah.
So, well done to Dr. Uendo, and big shout out to Takahiro as well, who's my sort of main contact there, who looks after us and makes sure we get all the information and the goods as well. So it's a huge thank you to the guys there. Thank you also to Robert, who has just donated a lovely £5. Thank you very much indeed. Hope you're well, sir. You certainly looked it last night. That sounded odd, didn't it? Hope you're well. It looked like it last night. Yeah.
Yeah, sexy people.
Indeed.
Why didn't you include Kent in that? Why didn't you include Kent?
I'm sure he looked well to Kent as well.
I slept in the dog's bed last night. I don't look good at all.
Good. Well, I don't know.
To be honest, we didn't notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the sad part, isn't it?
I was watching the live webcam.
Gary Walker says, can it be used old school for multi-sampling?
No, there's no multi-sampling on.
It's like one shot and then just stretch, and that's that.
Single sample. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I like that because being Fairlight fan, certainly one shot and then stretch, and that's where you get the character, isn't it? Yeah. So no. Are there any plans for a wavetable synth? Well, I don't.
Actually, the Bass and Beats
was
a wavetable synth, but it's got a beautiful engine. I'd like to see it sort of brought out of the LIVEN case, onto something a bit more knobby.
Of all the LIVENs, that was the one that seemed to kind of just not necessarily slip under the radar. It was like 8-bit Warps was the one that got everybody's attention. XFM, because it was the brilliant FM synthesizer. But Bass and Beats seemed to just sort of like, okay, and it just when I got mine, I was like, wow, this is actually really good. Yeah. It's quite surprisingly good. If you can get to grips with the UI, which the LIVENs have a fairly unique UI, which has improved again over the years with each model. There's they're reducing the amount of button presses because obviously it's a very limited display. But there you go. So it's kind of a wavetable synth already in there.
I was just trying to remember. Does the ELZ1 when it comes does that have wavetable? I thought it had some sort of wavetable.
Don't think so. It's got granular. Oh, yeah. No, there's no wavetable.
It's got modelling as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's got physical modelling. Yeah. There's no wavetable.
Batteries in this. I don't know where the power supply is. I can't remember. No, I don't think it has. That's a really good machine. They've got a knack of doing some really good stuff. Big fan. Right. Monmouth 1 in the chat says, Robbie, Andrew, Kent, thanks for the good advice with the DX100. I hope you've got that working. Monmouth 1 was in the Facebook group earlier. He just acquired a DX100 that was doing some very odd things, and hopefully we've helped get that back up and running again, because they're cool little synthesizers. I don't think there's any more questions that I can see.
There's one comment, which is
Crave table. Yeah.
Wait, what, Paul? Really?
Very good. Right, so that's all the questions I can see there. So what we're going to do is we'll just crack on with a couple of things in the news. Sure, I think we will go here first. We've got something else that's new that's coming to Superbooth, but first of all, we will talk about this instrument. We'll play the little trailer, give me a chance to cue everything up. Here we go. So Arturia continue to release stuff over their 25th anniversary year, which is this year. Trust me, there's more to come. And this is Augmented Yangqin. And I'm afraid I am of an age and of a nationality that whenever I hear the word Yangqin, I am reminded of the classic Monty Python sketch, which we often seem to be reminded of in the synthesizer world. Yangtze, Yangtze Kayam, river full of fish. Why do so many English goalkeepers seek inspiration from the famous river? Well, Brian. Anyway, I digress. Yangtze. So Arturia's augmented range of instruments are a cross between synthesis and sampling, and they do this with a lovely, very simple interface, as you can see if I throw this up on the screen, because I'm assuming you can all see it, but you can't. There it is. So it's just basically a large knob in the middle of the screen, surrounded by a few other smaller knobs, and it's just a brilliant way of mixing together samples and synthesis and getting this kind of lovely blend. So if you want purely natural sounding Chinese instruments, you can have that, but if you want to then broaden out and stretch those out into other places sonically, you can do so with the Augmented Yangtze package. It's I mean, I've been playing around with this. Certainly on some of Kent's pubs, I've been sort of tinkling in the background with this, and it's incredibly expressive, sounds amazing, and is very limited sonically, because it's it's just these kind of 6 Chinese instruments that have been meticulously multi-sampled and then layered up with all sorts of gubbins. And it's just €99, $99 to buy, although if you have bought others, you will get an Arturia little best offer discount, and that's valid until May 16th, so hurry up.
I'm assuming it's microtonal as well.
That's a good question. I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't got that far into it yet. But, yeah, I don't know. Check it out.
Then we shall.
Indeed. I mean, I always like the sound of Chinese, Japanese, Far Eastern instruments. And it's really, delivers them up on a plate that's just, very nice and easy to use. Apparently, no, it is not as of now, Andrew. Not microtonal. Oh. So there you go. Did you write the manual on that one as well? I can't remember. No, I don't think you did. I did check. I look for these things, Thoughts on Yangtze? The instrument, not the river?
We could end up doing the whole of Monty Python.
We could.
I like the sounds. I do like the sounds. They're very good. As you say, it's very limited sonically, but if you're after those sounds and want to, you can use them in a different way. What's really good about the augmentation here is you can take it into other areas, but it does end up sounding, because it's not microtonal, I think, very much like a Western interpretation of what this should sound like. So it feels a bit sort of culturally appropriate,
appropriated, yes.
Whatever it is. But it's a good sound, and I know that they've been brave enough to go and do some of these other instruments, and I know they're going to be doing others as well, and they're not freely available anywhere else. You can't find them anywhere else in this way. So I hope the microtonals will come, because then that gets the more authentic sound, which is what really interests me. But it's a good library. It sounds great.
Absolutely. Kent, you liked the sound of this, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah, but I was thinking about doing a cover of that track on the B-side of China, and this would be ideal.
Yes, it would.
So,
would.
Yeah, it's a beautiful instrument full of samples.
I like the way you did that. The blend. Yangtze full of.
What is it?
Samples.
Vintage SmplTrek. Wax lyrical about this instrument.
I'm disappointed that Arturia didn't use the Python references.
Yeah, well, yeah. It would have been good. I suppose.
Although it wouldn't have probably appealed to the vast majority of its younger audience. No, it's a cracking thing. Are you a fan? I mean, I've always had you down, Chris, as a hardware guy almost entirely. Are you into plugins? Is this sort of thing?
Yeah, I try not to buy too much stuff that overlaps.
Because you do a lot of scoring as well for films, so these sort of things would sort of help.
Yeah, it'd be perfect for that. I mean, I don't know, just tucked away up the top above that cigar box guitar thing is an erhu, which is
you got an actual
Chinese
erhu.
instrument. Yeah, and somewhere, Mrs. has got a guzheng, which is like a big, long zither instrument, and I quite like to play the real thing. But I would also, definitely in terms of scoring and stuff, would be useful to have a plug-in.
Yeah,
and it's Arturia stuff. It's great. So
it's
no
the
doubt
sonically is very good. And of course, with this, you get the arpeggiators, you get the modulation stuff, and the effects and everything, and it just makes it so easy once you've assigned everything, just to morph between the two different layers with just that, and you can just MIDI that to a control that you have elsewhere.
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah. They are very good. €99 on its own, but you can also buy the entire set for I think $199. So that's all 6 of the Augmented series instruments. So that's voice, strings, Yangqin,
That's a good deal.
woodwinds, brass. And, did I said voice? Didn't I? I can't remember. Piano. That's the one. So there's six of them in there. So $199.
That's good. Yeah.
Which is pretty good. Arturia are banging out some bloody good stuff at the moment.
I bought them.
You bought all of that, did you?
I have bought them. I would love to try them.
But you can't get.
You can't get in the studio.
So I'll download them or try them.
Yeah. We'll just varnish over that, Kent.
So there you go. Arturia Yangqin is available now in all good software stores and possibly some bad ones too. Hello, Siri.
Have you noticed I've been trying very hard to get the bells, but
it's
not so far.
I've decided not to encourage you.
The key element of this is surprise.
Indeed.
And
Surprise.
a fanatical... well, never mind.
There.
No.
Go.
There you go. Oh, bless her. She's the star of the show, isn't she? Bless her.
James,
she's got food.
James has posted. Yeah. James has very kindly given us some money and posted a question which I think is worthy of some exploration.
Absolutely. Thank you for your donation, Jamie. Much appreciated. That'll buy a couple of beers. What am I looking forward to other than the beer? What are any of us looking forward to at Superbooth? That's a good question. Unfortunately, the things that I'm looking forward to, I can't talk about. However, I am looking forward to some of the things that there's actually the thing that's coming up next. I'm looking forward to, which we'll come to. I won't.
Saddle soap is what he's looking forward to.
Yeah, I'm looking to stern German females in skin-tight leather. No,
saddle soap. See, I knew we'd get to saddle soap in the end.
There's a shop, James Glue, and Ben Simpson will back me up on this, and anybody else that stayed at the hotel that we stay at, that right next door to our hotel is a shop that sells clothing of a particular type. And let's just say I have more material in a hanky. And most of this stuff is PVC or leather. It's most interesting. And it's literally slap bang next door to my hotel.
It's most interesting. Did you say it's most interesting?
It is most interesting. Hello, Siri. Siri knows what I say.
Siri.
Look, you've activated Siri on my phone. Well, I've activated. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to see. I want to see that thing that we did at the top of the show, the alt. I want to see that.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Are you going to be doing some filming whilst you're there?
I hope so. Yeah, I was testing out. I've got batteries coming tomorrow. Extra batteries. I think I can use this light that I've got here, and I've got a digital audio recorder, and I'm going to be taking the Sony. So I'm hoping to capture something. It won't be Nick back quality. It'll be much worse than that, but it'll be something. It'll be something. There's only me, so it's not like I've got a crew and what have you. But yeah, what else? Let me think. Again, every time I want to say something, it's stuff that I can't talk about.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Actually, the thing I'm looking forward to the most, and unfortunately Jamie's not going to be there, but it's the people. because it's the people what make it. It really is. And last
Is
year,
Dina going to be there?
no, I don't think
Michelle?
she is. She's on holiday. Michelle's not going to be there this year, unfortunately. She was there last year. But Carl Bedford's going to be there, and Mark Barnes and Cheryl Barnes will both be there. And Ben Breslin's going to be there, and Peter James Stevens going to be there, and
Kent and I will be there in person, in spirit.
in spirit, indeed. Ooh. Yeah. But it's always the best thing about it for me is absolutely the people. It's and of course Mike Metley will be there, and Bjorn Kim Bjorn from Bukes. Dad sausage. So cute. So yeah, lots of stuff. But people is the main thing. So for me.
Anyone else expecting anything there? Anyone else looking forward to announcements from there that you can mention? Ken, are you looking forward to anything?
Yeah,
Don't.
but I can't talk
I
about it.
forgot Manny. Sorry, I'm looking forward to seeing Manny because we're staying in the same hotel.
Oh no, not Manny.
We're going to
Sorry.
see him either way.
Oh, I can give you some of Kent's dentures to take with it. Manny can sort them out.
Yeah,
What do you think, Kent?
Bite into something, stick it in the post, and I'll give it to Manny. He'll do a set of replacements.
You won't give him much to work with.
You still got 10 left. I think you're
10
isn't it right? You're decadent.
I think I've got a good actual impression of my front teeth still on the wheel of the rear wheel of the
The
Mustang.
Mustang, yeah. Dear, oh dear. Well, you will lose your locking tie nuts, won't you? So.
Well, teach me to fall over while smiling.
Indeed. No, I can't think of any. I mean, like I say, every time I think of something, no, I'm not allowed to say that. So there's lots to look forward to.
Will the Omnicord, the Suzuki or
I
whatever
hope
it is,
so.
will that finally be out and there? And
So one of my colleagues at Gear News, who lives in Japan, got an invitation, and I have to say a big thank you to Andy Synth Addict, because I pestered Andy when he was at NAMM to go to the Suzuki stand.
he was at NAMM.
And get me a contact, and he got me a card, and he sent me a photo of that card, and I sent that photo to my colleague in Japan, and it got him an exclusive invitation to Suzuki HQ, where he got to play the brand new Omnicord, and he thinks it's absolutely brilliant. So maybe they'll be there as well, because that's coming soon.
It's $1,000.
It's not cheap. It's about $899. Yeah, I think it's about $899.
But it has MIDI out on it, doesn't it? So you can use the
and it's
strumming.
it's got all of the sounds as well from all the previous Omnicords, including that Gorilla's sound. So.
Yeah, my missus really wanted one of the original ones,
Yeah.
and then she's seen that the new one's coming out.
Yeah.
That's on the list.
I had a boss
ever-growing
at
list.
a previous job who found out I was into synthesizers, and he says, "Oh, have you got one of these things?" and shows me a picture of an Omnicord. And I said, "No, I haven't, but I've always wanted to have a go on one." He said, "I'll bring it in for you tomorrow." And he's not musical at all. He just bought one because it looked weird and it had that strum plate on it. But he wouldn't let me buy it off him. I offered him money, he wouldn't let me buy it. So-
I think I've got one out in the garage. Look.
You've got everything out in your garage.
No, honestly, I think I do.
No, I don't not believe you.
Yeah,
That's a double negative.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so hopefully that'll
Close
be
the
there.
door, why don't you, woman?
Where's he gone now?
Right, let's very quickly mention this, because this was brilliant. I'm going to play just a snippet of the beginning of the trailer for this, which oddly starts with a competitive product. Play, goddammit.
In 1979, music changed forever when the world's first commercially available digital drum machine, the Lin LM1, was launched. With the possibility of recording real sounds onto chips instead of synthesizing them now a reality, there was no turning back. Naturally, as the LM1 was first, it briefly had the market to itself, but inevitably, competitors would be hot on its heels. And sure enough, within a year, another American company, Oberheim, brought their drum machine to market.
The DMX.
DMX boasted 11 unique 8-bit samples with velocity and tuning variations thereof, with individual outputs, per-voice tuning, an onboard sequencer with patterns, songs, flams, rolls and swing. This was a serious bit of kit, and the DMX carved out a story of its own. It was...
There we go. So that's the brilliant Alex Ball as ever doing the introductory video for the GeForce Oberheim DMX drum machine. Finally, we have a dedicated Oberheim DMX in a plug-in form, and it's brilliant. And best of all, at the moment, it's only $19.99 plus tax, which is back to about $23.99, which is an introductory price. It's officially sanctioned by Oberheim. It has all of the original DMX sounds in it, including the update that came out a year or two after. It has all the DX sounds in, because the Oberheim DX was a slightly stripped back version of the DMX. It's got all of those in, plus it's got a whole bunch of other sounds from things like the sequential drum tracks, which is very nice to have in there as well. It's a beautiful little plug-in. It looks exactly like the old thing, except it doesn't have a sequencer built in. The reasoning behind that, as one of the developers told me, was, essentially most people are using this in the DAW anyway, so why have a sequencer in a sequencer kind of thing? But I get that some people might enjoy that. I'm neither here nor there. But what they have added is delay and reverb, which comes from that lovely kind of set of effects that we find on most of the GeForce stuff these days. There's a lovely multi-mode filter in there. There's distortion. There's a compressor. And there's, of course, a whole bunch of controls, so you can flip the panel to have either the faders or the knobs, where you can dial in the amount of reverb and delay and panning and all sorts of things per channel. So there you go. It sounds amazing. I love this thing. I love the DMX for so many reasons, because it's on so many great records back in the day. Not least, of course, we have to mention Blue Monday, West End Girls, a whole bunch of hip hop. It's just an absolute classic. And
Teardrops.
It just came out left field. Didn't even know this was coming until about a day before it was released. But it's brilliant. Thoughts on this?
I think it's a shame they missed out the sequencer, because one of the real glorious things about the DMX was just how simple it was to start putting patterns together.
Yeah.
It is different if you're doing it in the DAW, it's different, and one of the attractions for it was how quick it was to put stuff together really, really fast. Great machine, great sounds.
Yeah.
Good price, though.
Steve Elbows, who surprisingly I have not seen in the chat tonight, so maybe he's busy doing something else. God knows what he'd be doing on a Friday night, not being here. But he sent me some Ableton Live drum pad kind of configurations for this and a bunch of other drum machines, so I can just play it off of pads just like I'm playing on the real thing, which is very cool. So that's quite nice. But yeah, I love the sound of this. Kent, is this another one where you're going to go, at last, people will buy this and not bring me their stuff to repair?
Well, it was rather ironic that the one in the video was the one I restored. So,
of course.
And then the OB8 that I restored as well. I was like, oh god, it's just looking at my resume. Go away.
And the LM1 as well.
I had
probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it probably is the one I did, because the top of it wasn't scratched where I resprayed it. So, yeah, I like. Obviously, I have purchased it.
Of course. Yeah. Just in the air. Insta buy. I think anything that they make is insta buy.
It's the detail and the breadth of detail and history that Kent brings that I love.
Yeah, I would have loved to have told you more, but again, I need to download it and then actually use it, so that might be a bit difficult in a moment.
Yeah, I love me a drum machine.
Yeah, what did you make of? I mean, you had to repair one or two. What did you make of them as their build quality and how they were put together?
Oh, they're actually quite robust. They run a little hot, I suppose, but they're generally quite robust. And they needed to be because of people constantly opening them.
Yeah, of course.
Change out the
ROMs. Yeah. So they were well built in all respects.
And it's interesting that the reverb that they chose to show on that clip is it's the AMS, the 16, isn't it? RMX 16 or whatever it is, the non-linear, because that was the sound of that time.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
non-linear reverb on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good.
Chris,
match.
you a fan of the Oberheim DMX?
Not a total, not a total drum machine obsessive. I don't know, I know the 808s and 909s and all that stuff, but not into the sampled drum machine so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not really used it. There's DMX samples on the LoFi-12 XT though. Just what I was checking when I was leading.
That is true, and there's Lynn samples on there as well.
There is, yeah.
Yeah.
Some classic drum machine stuff on there.
Don't tell Bruce Forat. Yeah, absolutely. Some good stuff on there. But no, I was, as soon as I saw this, it was just like, yeah, I don't even care how much this is. This is getting bought because this is up there for me with Ali James Labs VPROM, which is the clone of the Lin, which he's done incredibly well. It's not just a bunch of samples. It isn't samples. It's actual software versions of the ROMs. So it's the sounds as they would have heard in the machine, with all of the faults and quirks that made it sound the way it did. The slight delays on the samples and the way that the hi-hat is just a cycling cymbal sample that sort of opens and closes. Very good stuff. So I now have software versions of my favorite drum machines. I don't think there's a drum machine apart from the RZ1, the Casio RZ1. I'd love one of those, hardware or software, but I'd love those. They were awfully good, and by that I mean they sounded pretty awful, but in a good way. They were very very nice. Love those. Anyway, we're at time, but I do want to very quickly talk about this one because this is going to be
roving reporter's roving.
He's roved, yes, with Rover. This is going to be at. I haven't got anything more than just the webpage. There's no video for this or anything at all. And this came across my desk about 4:00 this afternoon, maybe a little earlier. Oh yes, Wagyu, I would like a movement drum computer. That is. That is the last one, I think. If forget the Casio, a movement would be amazing. Sounds so wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the first Love FM synthesizer by Love Synthesizers, who are a brand new Icelandic company. Get ready for this, kids, because this is an FM synthesizer that looks like a game machine. And we have literally no more information other than what it looks like. So you've got that kind of 3-pad D-pad. I want to call it a D, but it's not really a D-pad, is it? But 3-pad control, 2 big buttons, like fire buttons, and then what I assume are 4 rotaries in the middle that spell out the word love. Oh. Yeah. And then there's a pink button with what is known as the kind of the globally accepted icon for the internet. So I don't know what that button does, whether it means you can share stuff or download stuff, whether there's, that's interesting. It's intriguing. And then you've got this lovely kind of display with 4 waveform windows, little circular windows, and then this vertical one in the middle. Nothing other than that this is an FM synthesizer that is designed to make, these are their words, not mine, to make FM like really easy to use and fast flowing and user friendly.
They're saying it's a touch screen, interactive touch screen interface. That's interesting.
Yeah, and that's really, there's no more than that, and that's the only picture we have apart from this sort of fancy 3-dimensional rendering. However, they are going to be at Superbooth, and so I don't think they've given their stand number, but they will be at Superbooth, where you'll be able to get a chance to get hands-on with it. So I'm looking forward to that. But that's interesting. There's no idea of price, no idea of features, functionality, connectivity, what sort of FM, types of FM synthesis it's using, whether it's algorithmic or cross-mod, or whether it's something completely different. But yeah, absolutely. As Manny says, put that on the to check out list for sure. That's definitely an interesting one. Any quick thoughts on that one? Because we are running out of time, but interesting. Yes, no?
Yes.
It's interesting. I mean, until we hear it, we won't know. It's
Exactly,
interesting.
yeah.
It's got a touch screen. The claims they're making for it. Oh, you'll have to get that filmed and let us see.
Yeah.
I want to know
Yeah,
how the
for
interface works. It looks really.
Yeah.
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 Why,
I mean, it's a
why
very basic
three-
interface. So yeah,
Why a three-way thing? It's really.
I know. I never get asked that question. Why 3 way? So yeah, it's an interesting thing, and yeah, I'll report back. Is all I can say. There we go, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a show. Thank you, Chris, again. A,
worries.
for coming on, and B, for doing it at such short notice.
No problem.
It's always good to have you on. And so, as I said before, if you want to learn more about the LoFi-12 XT, Chris's tutorial can be found on YouTube if you search for Chris Lody, or you can just go to the Sonicware website where you'll find the link to it and a whole bunch of other performance videos in there as well. So go and check that out and learn more about that machine. And I think a lot of people will actually quite like that one. So there you go. That's that. Thank you, Kent, for joining us from the workshop.
I got some work done. Look.
Well, there you go. Or something. There you go. I hope they'll be able to get upstairs soon.
It won't be tonight.
No.
No, it's still.
You need to open all the doors. It's going to be a fairly warmish weekend, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bank holiday. It's bound to rain.
Oh, I hope so.
This is
I'll
true.
probably be sleeping in the garden.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's going
downstairs,
to be
Lou.
nice. The rest
Just
of
get,
it.
just get some fans on it or something. I don't know. Anyway,
so-
and yeah, there you go. Lovely stuff. Good to see you as always.
And then my-
Pub tomorrow. Pub. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Pub tomorrow.
If there is, it'll be from KSR Towers. Because I doubt it'll be upstairs somehow.
No.
So, but we shall see. We shall
see. Indeed. All right then. Well, if not, have a lovely bank holiday weekend.
Like
Andrew,
it,
thank you
like
again
repairing-
for joining as always.
Sorry?
I said thank you.
Oh, right. Sorry, I thought I was a million miles away there. I'm just
Where
upset
were the
because I
fairies?
haven't had a bell. I haven't had the... I'm just really...
No, I've decided not to encourage you.
My
That's-
date's not complete now. That's it. I'm just going to sulk.
I'm going to treat you like I treat my cat when he's
What's
asking
that?
for things he shouldn't have.
Penguin, your visit. Righty-ho.
I expect him knocking on the door. Sorry. Okay. Much planned for the bank holiday weekend?
Me? Yes,
Yeah, you.
I have.
have.
We've got people coming around tomorrow, someone that's never seen one of these and is a big fan of big
Lovely.
weighty keyboards, and I've got a load of editing to do. I've got some 3D stuff, and we're going to hopefully tomorrow get into the garden for a bit.
Nice.
The rest of the weekend looks like it's going to be a washout, so there we
Yeah.
go.
Oh, well. How about you,
And
Chris?
Liz-
You got oh, sorry, go.
No, I was just going to say Liz isn't feeling terribly
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
She's
Love to
in
Liz.
bed,
Hope she
so-
feels better soon.
Yeah.
Send the ProSynth Network and everyone that's viewing say get well soon, Liz.
Except Chris. Chris didn't. I'm going to tell her that.
Okay. How about you, Chris? You got a busy weekend? You gigging or just are you lounging
No,
around the
just-
studio?
Finally getting a chance to have a break. I've been absolutely working Monday.
Yeah. No, I can
Yeah.
imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine.
So first chance in about 6 weeks to have a proper weekend.
Good.
Oh,
Well,
just
make the most of it. Enjoy,
birthday
enjoy
weekend
it.
and have a
Oh yes,
drink
well of
and-
course. Happy
yeah.
birthday for tomorrow.
Thank you. Yeah.
Have a fantastic day.
Yeah,
Thank you.
do.
Yeah,
Happy birthday
Good stuff.
to you.
Yes, people have been saying in the chat, Dwayne Eddy, of course, passed away the other day. Again, maybe only certain people of a certain age will remember Dwayne Eddy, the guitarist, but also he did feature on an Art of Noise track, or a couple of Art of Noise tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back when Art of Noise went a little bit novelty. Not my favourite Art of Noise era, but there you go.
Is that close to the?
Thanks, Matt.
Was that Dwayne?
He did.
No, that wasn't it. Was it?
He did Peter Gunn,
Yes.
and did they also do Dragnet? Did he play on that? I
Oh,
can't remember
right.
if he played on Dragnet.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
There might have
good.
been some of it on it.
But nevertheless, a super talented and very distinctive guitarist. And yes, we already mentioned Richard Tandy as well, of course, who has parted ways with this mortal coil. It's always sad, but we shall remember them. Their music shall mean that they will never really die. They'll always be around. And on that somber but
Chilling.
Philosophical,
Oh.
chilling. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was going to go for the positive thing there. But yeah, thank you, of course, to everyone of you that's watching. We do this for you. You turn up in your masses, your filthy, unwashed masses, and you support us no end. We love you to bits. You know I'm only saying that because I love you.
It's true.
This weekend, I'm going to try and learn a bit more about that. I've got football tomorrow. It's the last day of the championship season, and my team need to just secure the playoff places. Our local rivals just need to secure actual promotion, which sticks in the throat a little bit, but they've deserved it. They've played a blinder. And then I've got rid of my son all weekend, so he's off with his girlfriend in Cambridge, and my daughter is going out with her boyfriend, so hopefully just get some sleep, which is something I've been lacking.
time.
Yeah, well, no, none of that.
Oh, right.
Not these days. No, after 20 odd years, no. Anyway,
There we go.
have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Thank you for joining. That was our show for this week. We'll be back next week, which is the 10th of May. That'll be the pre-Superbooth show. Hopefully, we'll have a bit more news for you all then. And then the week after that will be the week of Superbooth. I won't be here, but we're going to be joined by the wonderful people from Cherry Audio, because just before that show, they will have released their new synthesizer. And as I said at the top of the show, if you are a ProSynth Network Patreon supporter, i.e. you've subscribed and paid to our Patreon channel, which is patreon.com/ProSynth Network, at 7 o'clock this evening, we launched as a super exclusive demonstration video of the brand new Cherry Audio instrument. You don't get to see what it is, you just hear it, and that's all you really need to know.
Is it the vintage? Is it the vintage?
It's not the
right.
vintage. But no, it's just an audio demonstration by the wonderful James Terrace, who is the head of sound design at Cherry Audio. He's put together a nice audio demonstration, and that is exclusive, a worldwide exclusive, just to our ProSynth Network Patreon supporters. So if you are a supporter, go over there. If you're not a supporter, go and sign up, and then you get access to it. And then it'll go global, I think, on Tuesday. I think that's when Robert said he would make it go globally public. So you get like 5 days in advance of listening to what it might be. Have a guess. It's very interesting. So and it's a really good thing. So, yeah, go over there and support us. That'd be fantastic, and get some free stuff as well. Talking of other shows, don't forget Andy Synchrotron is doing his 10 a.m., I believe, 10 a.m. live stream, modular and guitars and drones and all that stuff. Henrik is doing Senior Synth stream tomorrow at 8. At 11 p.m. tonight, Eduardo is doing his synth guitar channel. I think it's episode 3 of that now. So go and check that out. I forget the name of the channel. Maybe if Andy Synth Addict is still in the chat, he can post a link to that. But Eddie has shared that around various places. So it's an interesting channel. If you're into guitars and synths working together, that's kind of what it's all about. I don't think James is doing a show on Sunday because I think he's taking a pause on those. So don't forget Rands on Saturday afternoon as well, 2 p.m. UK time. Lots of stuff going on. Don't forget to go and check out Chris's videos on the LoFi-12 XT and other Sonicware, other delights as well. And just have a brilliant weekend. I don't know if the rest of the world are taking 3 days off, but we are in the UK. So,
Really?
Have a good one. Yeah, take care. And we will see you all same time, same place next week. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.